Okay, I think we are live now, and I can see people are joining slowly but surely, which is amazing. Hello, everyone. Greetings from Uni UK. Thank you so much for joining our webinar today. My name is Degina Wetherill, and I'm the Director of Recruitment within Uni UK Division, a company of global university systems overseeing international students recruitment for a number of our UK partner universities. Today, I'm extremely excited to talk about one of our premium partner university, beautiful Hartpury University. And you can see Hartpury in my background as well, very, very picturesque surrounding. And I'm excited to be joined by Lydia Robinson, who is Head of International Students Recruitment within Hartpury University. Hi, Lydia. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Hey, Dagina, thanks for having me.
And we also have Sukanya from a uni marketing team in the background, helping us to run this webinar smoothly. Whilst people are still joining, just a few housekeeping rules. You're all on mute. If you'd like to ask any questions, please feel free to do so. Just pop them into the Q&A section. So that's Q&A section rather than chat section, and we will take them from there at the end of the webinar, or perhaps even during the webinar. It's a fireside chat, questions, answers. So feel free to pop your questions at any point of time. And I really hope you can stay with us till the end of the webinar. Apologies in advance for my voice. I'm a little bit under the weather today, but I'm really excited about this session and really excited to talk to Lydia about beautiful Hartpury University ahead of the September 2026 intake. And just reminder to our partners and students who joined that the portal, so Gas Gateway portal, is already open for September 2026 applications. So please feel free to submit your students' applications as soon as possible. The earlier you submit them, the better. So our admissions will have plenty of time to make assessments and proceed your offer letters. You're always welcome to reach out to us also in case of any questions on the programs, on the scholarships, accommodation, etc., etc. But we will be covering some of those items today as well. So I really hope you enjoy this webinar and find it helpful and inspiring. All right. So Lydia, thank you once again. I know it's December and it's getting busy before Christmas. Everyone is getting ready. And so thank you once again for joining us at this busy time of the year, but also very nice time of the year, very, very festive. How is Hartpury preparing for Christmas, by the way, before we start jumping into actual questions?
Well, there's lots of pretty lights all around campus, and we've had some fun events for staff and students as well around campus. So people are feeling pretty festive.
Oh, that's really nice. And I guess many students actually stay at Hartpury over Christmas to experience it
Yeah,
in the UK.
they do. Some students do stay around over Christmas, and it's a really beautiful place to spend the holidays, and there's social activities going on for the students that aren't able to make it home. So there's lots of support so that they're not by themselves.
Oh, that's really, really nice. Excellent. All right. Well, Heartbreak continues welcoming interest from international students. But what makes it a standout choice for those applying for the September 2026 intake?
For me, I think it's those specialist subject areas that we offer. So we really are a community of incredibly passionate students. So it does tend to be those specialisms that attracts students to the university. Amazing, like world-class facilities, because we only have a small number of subject areas, all of our money is channeled into those subjects. So it does mean that we have amazing world-class facilities. But I also think it's the environment at Hartpury and the campus community. Um, It's definitely not your average university. As you said, Digina, the campus is just absolutely beautiful. It's surrounded by the English countryside. So it's not for everybody. Some students, they want to be in the heart of a big city. They want to be part of a very big, bustling university. Hartpury's very much a rural experience. You're surrounded by nature and by animals. It's a very calming environment, and I think it's really good for your mental well-being to be out in nature. And because we're only a small university, I think it does make it much easier to settle in as well and make friends and just feel part of that close-knit community. So I think the environment, if that's what your students are looking for, a calm, beautiful rural experience, we absolutely have that. But we have fantastic expertise within our specialist subject areas as well.
Fantastic. Thank you. For those of our partners or perhaps students who joined who are um, completely new to Hartpury University, let's just explain, where is Hartpury actually located in the UK?
Good question, important question. So our closest city is Gloucester. You may not have heard of Gloucester because it is one of the smaller UK cities. It's a historic city, probably most famous for Gloucester Cathedral, which actually was featured in some of the Harry Potter films. So you may have seen it in those. It's also where Hartpury students graduate. So it's a really magical end to their experience with us. Our graduations took place last month. It was actually my first time inside the cathedral. I was absolutely
Oh, it's
wowed. It's such an
beautiful. Yeah.
incredible building. It's amazing. So yeah, Gloucester's quite a small historic city. We have the quays, so it is set around the water. Lots of little boats. There's some good shopping and restaurants. We're also very close to Cheltenham. Cheltenham is a spa town. It's got architecture quite similar to Bath, if you're familiar with the city of Bath. And Cheltenham's known for its horse racing, so that fits in nicely with our equine specialism as well. Our closest major cities, Bristol and Birmingham, they're both about an hour away. So Bristol about an hour to the south, Birmingham about an hour to the north, and then about 2 hours from London.
Fantastic. So it's a really great strategic location. So it's not too far from big cities, but at the same time, as you mentioned, it's a bit tucked away. So you have that lovely immersive experience in the English countryside. So you can kind of experience the best of both worlds. If you would like to go to a big city for the weekend, you're more than welcome to do so. I know more mature students perhaps would like to stay in big cities and then maybe commute to the university if that's their preference. Of course, we do encourage them to book on-campus accommodation, but that's another option, I guess, for students to also consider.
Yeah, it's exactly right. I think when you're on campus and you look out, all you can see is rolling hills, woodland, lakes. It kind of feels like you're in the middle of nowhere, but actually, jump on the shuttle bus and you're in Gloucester in 15 to 20 minutes. And we do run coach trips around the UK to various cities as well. So they're low cost, they're run for students, and it's a good opportunity for them to easily get out and explore more of the UK and further afield.
Fantastic. Yes, and it's a great place to explore, especially when the weather is nice. I love traveling around the UK. So if you could give us maybe a brief overview of Hartpury University and what specialist programs it offers, what makes it so unique in the UK comparing to other leading specialist institutions.
Sure. So we are a small and specialist institution, and actually we are super proud to have been named Specialist University of the Year by the Times Good University Guide. That's for 2026. And that's in recognition of our teaching, our outstanding facilities, and our student experience as well. Um, so that's some kind of reassurance that it is going to be a very high quality degree and a high quality experience that your students would have at Hartpury. So Specialist University of the Year, And our specialist subject areas are animal, agriculture, equine, sport, and veterinary nursing. And more recently, we have branched out into some broader subject areas. So we've been teaching business management for a couple of years now. And for September 2026, we're starting to teach psychology.
Fantastic. So good range of subject areas available at Hartpury. Um, how would you describe the typical student's experience on campus? Because as you mentioned, many students choose Hartpury for its immersive hands-on learning.
Yeah, absolutely. The campus is our classroom essentially. So they'll spend some time in the classroom, but they'll also be getting out and about around the campus and getting some really practical hands-on experiences as well. So for example, for our agriculture students, we have our own commercial farm on campus, and it's an award-winning farm. And it supplies products to the likes of major companies like Muller. So there's lots of opportunities for students to get involved in the farm, and that is a big part of their kind of day-to-day experiences. For our animal students, we've got over 70 species of animal right on campus. In our walled garden, we have an orchard area, we have a reptile house, everything from meerkats, wallabies, goats, through to snakes and tarantulas, the less cuddly ones. Um, for equine, we have absolutely world-class facilities. We've got our equine therapy centre. We have indoor and outdoor arenas where we host international competitions throughout the year. We've got one of the most advanced riding simulators in the world. There's only 8 in the world, and we have one right on campus. So the students get to have these really practical hands-on experiences, really top of the range facilities, and I think that's what really helps us to stand out.
Brilliant. Thank you so much, Lydia. And yes, I was lucky to visit Harper a few times now, and the facilities are top notch, all I can say. And
You
it's
had to go on the
amazing.
riding simulator, Dagina.
Yes, yes, I did. And I was also lucky to interact with some creatures, which I found quite therapeutic. So it's really, really lovely to be at Hartpury. Um, so how does Harper ensure high quality teaching and meaningful student staff interactions, especially within its specialist subject areas? I mean, one of the things that I've noticed at Harper is everyone knows everyone by name. And it really makes experience so unique. I was an international student myself many years ago, and it was in a big city, so it's completely different experience. So sometimes you just feel like a number in a massive classroom or lecture room. But at Hartpury, not only lecturers know their students, but also professional staff, admissions, compliance, recruitment, etc. So it's really, really a lovely personalized, shall I say, approach to students' experience.
Yeah, I think so. And that's what struck me when I first started working at Hartpury as well, because my background has been working for much larger universities. We only have around 2,700 university students at Hartpury. About 230 of them are international students, but they come from over 60 different countries. So it's incredibly diverse. Lots of opportunities to meet with students from all over the world and make those connections. But yeah, I think because we are a small university, because we have a limited number of subject areas available, genuinely we do know our students by name, and that's the academics, but also the international team, the admissions team, and we're all able to have those close relationships with students. And it means that they're able to receive a really high level of support. Um, we have been formally recognised as well. We're top 10 in the UK for academic support. We're top 10 in the
Oh,
UK for our
fantastic.
quality of teaching. And we're also one of a very small handful of universities to be triple gold rated in the Teaching Excellence Framework. So don't need to take just our word for it. We do have these external accreditations of proof of the high quality teaching and support as well.
Fabulous. So that's really reassuring, I think, for international students coming to study at Hartpury. And those students who would be joining in September 2026, what are the new initiatives or perhaps support services or any new developments that they can expect at Hartpury?
Yeah, so that high level of support, it doesn't begin when they arrive on campus. It begins when they submit their application. So if they're an international student, we'll be reaching out to them in the first instance so that they've got one single point of contact that they can go to, ask any questions. We're always really happy to set up video calls with students, meet with them, meet with their families, give them all of the information that they need to help them make the decision and decide which university is best and the right fit for them. So it's a really high level of support from the outset. They'll have a lot of interaction with the university teams, but we also introduce our incoming students to each other. So we set up WhatsApp groups prior to arrival, and they can start to make friends months before they even arrive on campus. And we find that just helps kind of relieve some of the anxiety. You already know some of the people that you're coming to meet. And we also have current students on those WhatsApp groups as well. So students that have been through the pre-arrival experience a year or so ago. And that's always really helpful for giving practical tips and advice. Um, Things like what to pack, what's the best kind of airport to fly into, all those really, really practical questions, sharing tips about the visa process and things like that. So it's a really high level of support from the beginning prior to arrival, and that continues once they're on campus. And we're able to do it just because we do have smaller numbers of students, so we don't have to manage our communications through automated databases and systems. We literally can just reach out to everyone and have a conversation.
Oh, that's so lovely, especially these days when you have that human touch
Yeah.
rather than relying on AI or any other tools to actually have that conversation and to build those connections and potentially friendships before even traveling to campus. I think that's amazing because being international students, it's a nerve-wracking experience. You're leaving everything behind to go to a new country where you don't necessarily know anyone. But it's great that you have those services where students can actually start talking to each other prior to even making a decision to come or prior to even applying for visa or deciding which accommodation to use, etc. So that's really good. And even which airport to fly into. By the way, which airport is the nearest to Hartpury?
Oh, we're probably right in the middle of Birmingham and Bristol. The public
Mhm.
transport links are probably slightly better with Birmingham. But when students first arrive, we will collect them from the airport, whether it's Bristol, Birmingham, or London, and that's by car. So it makes it nice and easy for them if they're arriving tired and jet lagged, which many of them are.
Oh, wow, that's a VIP service.
Yeah.
Amazing. Love it. Excellent. Well, Hartpury is known for its specialist courses, as you mentioned, so agriculture, animal science, sport, equine. And what makes these programs academically distinctive? And why? Because I think now, nowadays, students actually consider which subject areas they should go for. For parents is also what is the best return on investment, what kind of jobs they can get into, where are the employment opportunities. So what are the advantages of selecting these subject areas in your
Yeah,
view?
you're right. It's a big investment of both time and money, isn't it? So it's important that potential students do consider what the return for that is going to be in the future. We do consistently achieve really high graduate employability ratings at Hartpury. So in the most recent survey, 95% of our graduates were either in work or further study post-graduation. And we have a careers support centre on campus that will work with students and help them to secure graduate work. Um, so they can absolutely take advantage of that service, whether it's building up their resume, helping to submit an application form. It might be interview practice for a job role that they're going for, or helping them to identify companies and roles that they might want to apply to. So there's a whole range of services. But our graduates do work in quite diverse roles, really, even with specialist subject areas. So if we take equine as an example, our graduates are going on to a whole range of careers within the equine industry. It could be anything from coaching, rehabilitation. It could be possibly a more lab-based, research-focused career, like working as a lab technician. It could be in marketing, event organisation. So even within one sector, there is a whole range of careers that our graduates do go on to. And as I said, there's a lot of support available at the university. And pre-graduation as well, there's lots of work experience opportunities. Every single one of our undergraduate programs has the option to add in a 1 year work placement, which really helps to boost our students' employability. So we'd always recommend that and support them if that's something that they want to do. But of course, even if they didn't want to do a full year, we do have long summer breaks in the UK, or we have Easter vacation, Christmas vacation. They're all really good opportunities to secure some work experience, which will really help to build up your resume.
That's fantastic. And just a reminder to everyone that in the UK, as an international student, you are officially allowed to work part-time during your studies. So that's 20 hours if you're studying bachelor's or master's degrees, or one of the research programs, or full-time during holidays if you would like to do some work during your studies or during your holidays. And once you have graduated, and especially if you have taken advantage of one of the work placement opportunities Lydia mentioned, you're more likely to secure a full-time job. But even if you don't secure it straight away after graduation, you can still apply for graduate route visa. So we call it post-study work visa, whether you've completed bachelor's or master's, as long as you successfully completed and passed your degree, you are eligible to apply for that type of visa, and you can start applying for jobs straight after graduation, or obviously you can do it during your studies as well. And with a great support from Hartpury University Career Services team, I'm sure you have high chances of securing something. And would you say, Lydia, going for specialist subjects like Hartpury offers, because they're so niche, and do graduates have more of a competitive advantage, let's say comparing to someone studying one of the popular subject areas, let's say, I don't know, finance or like computer science, because it's offered at loads and loads of universities, right? And there are loads of graduates who complete with a degree in those popular subject areas. But then when it comes to employability, the competition is fierce, right? But if
Yeah.
you graduate with a very specialized degree, you probably stand out of the crowd, right? You have like more opportunities, I
Yeah.
would imagine. And it's not only within the UK, you can probably get employment elsewhere where this area might be in demand.
Yeah, definitely. I'd say so. Like for example, we do have business management as a broader degree, but we also have sport business management and we have equine business management. So if you know that you want to work in the sports industry, or you know for sure that you want to work in the equine industry, I think studying a more specific program can really help you to stand out. But it's not only that. it's the academics that you'll be working with that have got the connections in those industry and they're always willing to kind of share those connections and help give our students and graduates a bit of a boost. Like quite often we'll be contacted by employers. So they're looking for a student, they're looking for a graduate, and our academics will share those opportunities among the student body. And then also, I think it's the practical experience that Hartpury students get as well. It it enables you to hit the ground running when you've got that experience, you've been having those hands-on experiences, not just been learning the theory. So I think all of those things combined, the practical experience, the network connections, and studying a very focused degree, all helps to give your employability a bit of a boost.
Fantastic, thank you. Speaking of sports subject areas offered at Hartpury, are there any particular programs you would like to highlight maybe for our audience? Or
Yeah,
maybe
well, we've
some programs
actually
which are in higher demand, perhaps?
Yeah, we've got a really broad range of sport programs actually. So everything from more science-focused programs like sport exercise science, nutrition, psychology, through to sports coaching, sports management. We have sports therapy as well. Um, they're all quite popular, really. Maybe sports business management is the most popular one because often students know that they would like to work in sport, but maybe they haven't quite narrowed it down to exactly what they'd want to do at that point. So it's a degree that's kind of focusing on sport industry, but it still kind of keeps their options open a little bit in terms of what career they might pursue in the future. But because we have an amazing sports academy at Hartpury as well, and we're helping to train athletes, it means that our students get those really hands-on opportunities to work with athletes. Um, we also offer dual degree programs. So if you do have any aspiring athletes, they can train in the academy with the hope of going professional eventually. But if not, they've got that high quality degree that they can fall back on as well.
Fantastic, thank you. And would you say this is the main advantage of studying sports-related degrees at Hartpury over other universities offering similar degrees, or is there anything else that students should consider?
Yeah, I mean, again, like I said earlier, because we've just got a small number of specialist areas, all of our money is invested into those. So the equipment in the Centre for Sport really is outstanding. Um, and again, we've got some fantastic connections within the industry, particularly if you have aspiring rugby players,
Mm.
footballers, golfers, rowers, netballers. They're the sports that we're most well known for, and especially rugby and football. Football, a lot of our graduates do go on to play professionally. In the most recent Women's Rugby World Cup, 15 of the players on the England team were Hartpury graduates.
Oh, wow, that's
Yeah.
amazing. That's really good to know. Thank you, Lydia. So do students get regular access? You mentioned some amazing facilities. So do students have that access to farms, laboratories, equine centers, or sports performance facilities as a part of their learning experience?
Yeah, they do. And even if that's not their specialist subject area, actually, so for example, if a student was studying a broader program like psychology, business management, they might still have a real passion for animals. So they're more than welcome to volunteer and help out with all of the animal species that we have in the walled garden. So we absolutely welcome that. Or there might be a student that's studying sport and exercise science, but they're very passionate about horses. And we've got 230 horses on campus, so they can ride in their spare time. So absolutely, there is a crossover, and even if that's not your academic subject area, you can still get involved with these on an extracurricular basis. I mean, I certainly like to pop along and see the meerkats when I can, when I get a spare moment.
Oh, they're very, very cute.
Yeah,
Speaking of equine and speaking of horses, I understand that some students even bring their own horses to Hartpury
they
from their home
do.
country. Is it right?
They do. They can. And international students definitely do take advantage of this. And we had a student from Hong Kong a few years ago that brought 5 horses over to
Oh,
camp.
wow.
So it
5.
can absolutely be done. It's funny because, as I said, my background's working for larger universities. I'm used to having questions of, can I bring my cat or can I bring my dog? And it was always, no, no. And now it's like, yes, bring your horse. So students would get an offer of admission for their degree program. And when accommodation applications open, which is usually the beginning of April, they'll apply for a room for themselves and they'll apply for a room for their horse at the same time.
Oh, that is so adorable. Amazing. You've mentioned some of the work placements available and some internship opportunities, perhaps, especially as a part of undergraduate degrees at Hartpury. But how much emphasis is placed on practical, real-world learning comparing to theoretical coursework?
Oh, huge. And it's not just with equine, it's across all of our subject areas, actually. So particularly if it's something like biological science, environmental science, animal related, our students are out and about around the campus because we've got some amazing plant species and wild animals around campus as well that our students can get out and about and have those hands-on experiences. If it's a more scientific program, a large proportion of their time is going to be spent in the labs. Um, and even with a subject like business, to be honest, we're really regularly having guest speakers come along to campus. Last year, our new students in their first week, we were off campus and we were in the city of Gloucester and we were meeting with the city council on a project. So it's all about bringing those real life experiences. We don't want them just learning information and memorizing it in a classroom. It's about getting hands on and what problems are businesses in the local area currently experiencing and what solutions can we come up with for those problems. So yeah, it's very practical and we're always trying to bring more and more practical content into our classes as well. And that's the feedback that we get from students. They really thrive and enjoy the practical side of teaching. So yeah, we're always trying to bring more and more of that.
That's brilliant. You've mentioned business degrees a few times. If you can maybe highlight to us which degrees, which courses specifically does Hartpury offer in business related subjects?
Yeah, so at an undergraduate level, we have the BSc in Business Management. So that's a 3-year course where students will graduate with a bachelor degree. And at master's level, we have Business Management and Enterprise, and that's a 1-year master's degree program. So they're the two kind of most broad business options. But if a student has an interest in sport, they might like to consider sport business management. If they've got an interest in equine, they might like to consider the equine business management, and they're both undergraduate programs.
Fantastic. So quite a few options which are related to business as well, which is amazing. Um, are there opportunities for students to work with industry experts, research teams, perhaps, or community projects?
Yeah, we actually have 9 commercial businesses on campus, operating from campus. So absolutely right on our doorstep, the student has opportunities to work with real live businesses. But in Gloucester in general, Gloucester is an area that has a really high proportion of startup businesses and also small to medium enterprises. So we do engage a lot with businesses in the local community as well. And there's opportunities for students to get involved. I say it's typically more startups, smaller size businesses. So if you have entrepreneurial students, it's a really good opportunity to get involved.
That's great. One of the questions we regularly receive from students, but also from our partners, do students need to take IELTS or another English test to apply to Hartpury degrees?
Yeah, most international students are required to evidence their English language ability, and that's part of the student visa requirements. So if they're studying an undergraduate degree, we'd look for B2 level, and we'd be asking for an IELTS 6.0 or equivalent. There are other tests that are accepted as well. If they're a student that's coming to study at master's level, we'd ask for an IELTS 6.5 or equivalent.
Great, thank you. And I guess students can also double check Hartpury University website, specific country pages, because sometimes some of the local qualifications might be considered as a proof of English if they achieved certain grades, right?
Exactly right.
So we do strongly recommend to look into those as well. And when it comes to the academic entry criteria, what does Hartpury require?
So it varies by program, and also by um, educational system. So it depends which country you're based in. That's a really good tip, actually, Dagina, to check out your country page. And the easiest way to find that actually is if you go onto Google and just put in Hartpury and then the name of your country, and it'll bring that page straight up. It'll have tailored information for you. So it'll have the entry requirements that are specific for your country. It'll have any scholarships that are also specific to your country as well. And possibly some case studies of previous students that we've had from
Mm.
that country. You can also schedule a one-to-one call with the international team through those pages as well. So it's well worth having a look and checking it out. And as you said, Dagina, there are some countries where we're just able to accept local English, like your high school certificate, or if you've studied an undergraduate degree in English. So check out that information because that is really specific, relevant information to you. And if you have a question that's not covered, you can easily just reach out to us by email or book in a video call. So have a look there for the academic entrance requirements.
Fantastic. You mentioned scholarships. So that's another question we regularly receive from potential applicants and parents, especially. Are there any scholarships for international students that Hartpury offers?
Yeah, important question. One of the most important questions. We do have scholarships available, and there's a range of different scholarships actually. Some of them would be automatically awarded, and others you need to apply for. So we have some regional scholarships that are available to students based in a variety of countries around the world. These range from £1,000 to £2,000, and if you're eligible, it'll be added to your offer of admission, and you'll see that when your offer letter comes through. So it'll tell you what the standard fee is, it'll tell you what scholarship you've been awarded, and then it'll tell you exactly what the fee is that's owed. So hopefully you'd be eligible for an automatic discount of at least 1,000, potentially 2,000. But there are other scholarships available that you can apply for. So we have our Vice Chancellor Scholarship, and this one offers a tuition fee discount of £3,000. We also have some sports scholarships available as well. So for any aspiring athletes that are really at the top of their game, get in touch. We can set up a conversation with the coach for your relevant sport. They'll help to kind of understand your level of ability and potentially may be able to offer you a sport-related scholarship. We also have our Trailblazer Scholarship. This is the best one because it gives a 50% tuition fee discount.
Oh,
So that's
wow.
the biggest scholarship that we have available. For the Trailblazer and for the Vice Chancellor Scholarship, you'd need to submit a separate application for those. So you get your offer of admission. Once you've got that, you can go on and apply for the scholarships. There's plenty of time. The deadlines for those, it's not until the 30th of May. Um, and in the application, it's not about academic ability or merit. We're really looking for a passion for the subject, and we're looking for students that want to make a real impact on their chosen industry. So we ask you to write a few paragraphs about how you're going to do that. And then after the deadline has passed, at the beginning of June, a panel will review all of the applications and award the scholarships. I should say you can only use one Hartpury University scholarship, but you can apply for as many as you like. So
Mm.
perhaps you're awarded a £1,000 regional scholarship, and then you're lucky enough to receive a 50% discount from the Trailblazer scholarship. We would just award the scholarship with the highest amount, so you'd have the 50% discount.
Fantastic. Some great scholarship options available at Hartpury. And the earlier you apply, the better. As mentioned, you can already submit your students' applications via Gas Gateway. And once you've received your offer, you can then start submitting your scholarship application as well. Please do ensure you submit a very strong personal statement to support your scholarship application. Speaking of personal statement, by the way, Lydia, what are your tips? What should students include in their personal statement to be selected by Hartpury, I guess, to be admitted?
We are very much a community of incredibly passionate students, and that is the number one thing that we're looking for in a personal statement. We want to see that passion for your subject area. Um, so really, how have you demonstrated that? And it's not really enough just say, I am passionate about equine. We want to know the experiences, that you've been up to that demonstrate that passion. So it's usually things that you've done outside of school, extracurricular activities. How have you shown that passion for your subject? And it's always helpful if students are reflective in their personal statement. So rather than just describing what you've done, what skills have you developed through those activities? And ideally, how can they be related to your program? So, for example, if somebody has been playing rugby, it's obviously a team sport. So through that, you've been able to develop excellent teamwork in. And that is really relevant to your course because you'll be doing a lot of group work as part of your course. So if you can kind of reflect on your activities and then show how they would benefit you as a student, that's really, really helpful. But above all, we just want that passion. Why do you love your subject and what's your relevant experience?
Oops, apologies, I was on mute. Some really, really useful tips there. So be passionate about subject, be unique, be yourself, and very importantly, do not use AI because all personal statements are being assessed on AI and plagiarism use, and they might be rejected if we detect any AI generated personal statements. So please ensure you write your personal statements yourself. Do you take time to analyze, to think, to ensure you put that passion for the subject area across within the personal statement. And when you go through the suitability interview, your personal statement is also taken into account because we want to make sure that it was you who wrote the personal statement. Your level of English also matches the personal statement you provided. As you may know, in some countries, especially Home Office also interviews students. So it's really, really important that you're prepared for your suitability interview. And for postgraduate applicants, there is also an academic chat with relevant academics, right? Just to understand that students chose the right program and they, again, like you said, demonstrate that passion for the subject area they chose, or whether there is something that the university would recommend to them instead. Perfect. I understand the university is yet to finalize deadlines, but Lydia mentioned some of the deadlines for scholarships. So if you are considering to apply for any of those scholarships, please do ensure that you obviously stay within those deadlines. But the earlier you apply, the better, the higher chances you have, and the more time you have to get accepted onto the program, to get your scholarship, but also for your visa application application. The university can start issuing classes normally 6 months prior to the start date of your program. So that gives you plenty of time to apply and secure your visa, also to decide on your accommodation and to book it in advance. Are there any deadlines we should keep in mind on accommodation, by the way, Lydia?
There isn't a deadline, but applications for accommodation will open on the 1st of April, and rooms are allocated in date order of application received. So the earlier you get your application in, the more likely you are to receive your first preference. We do guarantee accommodation for all undergraduate first year students, but we don't guarantee on campus. So we have some on campus accommodation. We also have some accommodation that's based in Gloucester city centre. So the earlier students get their application in, the more likely they are to be able to get on campus, if that's what they want, because that does tend to fill up first. Our postgraduate students, they all stay in the city in the Gloucester city centre accommodation.
Fantastic. Parents are normally also concerned about safety of their children. So how safe and accessible is the campus environment for international students, especially those traveling abroad for the first time?
Yeah, quite right, and completely understand. It's a really safe environment at Hartpury. I mean, for one, it's so rural, surrounded by countryside. We don't have any issues with safety up at Hartpury. Um, but in terms of the level of support, we have residential support officers that live on campus. So if you did encounter any issues, no matter what the time of the day, even if it's 3 o'clock in the morning, there'll be somebody on site that you can contact and will come over and help you. So yeah, it's a really high level of support, and it's such a peaceful, calm, rural campus. We just don't have issues with safety.
That's really good to know. Thank you. And are there any students' club societies or any extracurricular activities available for international students?
Yeah, so we have our student union on campus, and they host lots of different clubs and societies, and they'll host activities on an evening. Probably the most relevant society for this session, we have our International Students Society, and they came together just over a year or so ago. And they just felt very passionate about wanting to support our future international students. So they help us with our arrival program when students first come onto campus in September. And it's mostly focused around social activities and just helping our students to feel settled and make friends quickly. And of course, students will go through some periods of homesickness. That's really normal. And it's lovely just to have that supportive community of other students that understand completely how you're feeling. Um, so the International Student Society is great. But there's also lots of other societies. So maybe you're into a particular sport and maybe you don't want to compete, but you just want to play a game every now and then for fun. You can absolutely do that. There's some more academic societies, and there's some that are just really silly and just for fun. So there's a range of different things that you can join. But in the student union, they'll regularly host kind of like quiz nights, table tennis tournaments, things like that. Um, Sport is a big part of life at Hartpury as well. So even if you're not competing as an athlete, a lot of our students will go along to the Centre for Sport and watch a game. So there's
That's
lots to
brilliant.
do, even though it's rural, or just hop on the shuttle bus into Gloucester and visit the shops, cafes, restaurants there.
Yeah, and I think such of the experiences that you mentioned actually bring people together and help them to create those friendships, and those groups. They can socialize, even if they maybe not part of the same cohort or the same program. They can still be friends, especially if they live on campus. That's really great experience. As you mentioned, students might not necessarily be athletes, but they want to join some sports activities or fitness programs or some other outdoors activities, etc. Some of the students coming from South Asia, for example, are into cricket. Is there anything you would recommend to them?
Yeah, so we have really good links with local cricket clubs. And actually, we have 9 academies at the moment. We're really hoping to introduce a cricket academy. It's something that well, it's a sport that the head of the sport is very passionate about. So I think for him alone, he'd really like us to have a cricket academy. So if you do have any aspiring cricketers, really good opportunity to come along and help us set up that academy. So at the moment, there's lots of opportunities where we can introduce you to local clubs and help with that. But we'd love to have our very own cricket academy as well. So hopefully that's coming in the next year or so.
So watch this space. That would be amazing. So you mentioned some of the work placements, internships, opportunities. What additional support that Career Services offers to international students and to prepare them for either UK or global employment, as well as maybe help them with even to have part-time jobs perhaps during studies, whether they're related to their degrees or not, because even a simple part-time job can boost your CV because it can help you to develop your communication skills, to make some friends as well, and to show that you have got some experience actually whilst studying.
Yeah, definitely. And we always say to our students, don't wait until you're about to graduate. Go and speak to somebody in careers early because it's all about building your resume and making those connections early. So if you are able to secure part-time work, if you're able to secure work experience or an internship, that's only going to help you. And a lot of our students that do have work experience, work placements, they're offered graduate roles. They've proven themselves. The companies want them to come back once they graduate. So definitely start early. Even your first year, it's never too soon to start building those experiences on your resume. Um, and it's just going to help you to hit the ground running as well. So we'll have graduate employers come and visit campus. We advertise opportunities through our platforms as well. But as I said earlier, we can help with all sorts of support. So it could even just be a practice interview. Um, Anything that you need, the career service can help with. But it's not just about careers. We also have our academic support centre. We call it the ASC. And that's all about helping students with study skills. So our students might have a very high level of English language ability, but perhaps in the UK, we structure our essays slightly different to how they're used to. Or perhaps they've been out of education a few years and they just need kind of a bit of a refresher on, how to add footnotes and references and all of that. So this is about those wider study skills and supporting students in that. So we run lots of workshops, one-to-one sessions as well. Um, and then in addition to that, there's also the wellbeing and disability teams as well. So if there's any students that are kind of struggling with mental health, there's a lot of activities and support sessions that we run as well.
Oh, that's really great to know. And I know some of the international students also become students ambassadors. And if there are any visitors to the campus, which is actually a great start in case if any of you are visiting UK anytime soon or perhaps early next year as well, please do let us know. Hartpury University team would be more than happy to show you around the campus. It's a great experience and And I'm sure once you visit the university, you will fall in love with it because that's the university. Shall we say, the selling point of the university is actually its campus. So yes, there are various options available for international students. Speaking of the international students at Hartpury, you mentioned it's not a huge number, but it's a very diverse community. Where are students from at Hartpury?
Oh, it really is all over the world. So we have students from the US, from Canada, small numbers from Latin America, and we have quite a few students from Europe, from Africa, from South Africa, Zimbabwe, Zambia, Nigeria, Ghana. Um, Students from South Asia as well, India, Pakistan. We've seen some growing numbers from the Middle East and from China, and Southeast Asia as well. So it really is kind of small numbers of students from absolutely everywhere.
And would you say there are more undergraduate students or more postgraduate students at Hartpury?
Yeah, there are more undergraduate students at Hartpury, just because we have more undergraduate level programs, and there's less kind of variety available at postgraduate level.
Oh, that's interesting. So, would students who perhaps started undergraduate degree in their home country in a relevant subject area, would Hartpury be open to consider those applicants wanting to transfer their credits?
Yeah, absolutely. We'd be more than happy to consider an application for credit transfer. The first step would be to submit an application form, but just highlight on the application that you're interested in credit transfer. And then we'd ask you for your transcripts for the syllabus of what you've studied so far. Hopefully that matches with the Hartbury curriculum and we can allow you to transfer credits.
Fantastic. That's really good to know. Thank you. Um, are there any specific success stories of international students that come to mind from your experience with Hartpury so far?
Yeah, we've got quite a lot of success stories on our website actually. So if you go along to there, there might be some students that are listed from your own country, and you can kind of follow them on their journey. Um, just last week, I was speaking to one of our students on campus, and she was a zoology student, and she was telling me about one of the amazing field trips that she's been able to do during her time at Hartpury. So she did a 2-week trip out to South Africa and got some experience working on a
Oh,
wildlife reserve
amazing.
there. She was then invited back and did a longer 2-month experience working with them there. She'd also been to the Seychelles and was working with bird species there.
Wow.
Um, and she had so many different job offers at the end of it, I think because she's built all of these experiences. And these job offers came from all over the world. She had a job offer in Ecuador, she had a job offer in Costa Rica. But in the end, she's decided to stay in the UK and she's taken a job working at Colchester Zoo, just because
Oh,
that
amazing.
aligned
I've been there.
most with, yeah, that was where kind of her heart lied in terms of the activities that she'd be doing on a day-to-day basis. So I think it's a good example of how building all of those practical experiences and building your resume is really going to help your graduate employability.
Absolutely. And that's one of the biggest zoos actually in the UK, and it's beautiful. Amazing. So yes, please do check out student success stories on Hartpury website. There are plenty of them. We also share some of those success stories on social media channels, so keep an eye on those and via various communication and emails that we share with our partners and applicants as well. Okay, just a couple of last questions before we conclude. How quickly do students need to book housing to secure their preferred option? I know you mentioned that 1st of April is when the accommodation portal is open for bookings. But would it be okay for students, let's say, to apply for visa, receive visa, and then book accommodation, or would you encourage them to book it prior to that?
Yeah, I would say I would encourage you to book your accommodation as soon as it goes live. So it's going to go live 1st of April. Get your application in on the 1st of April if you can, or certainly within that first week of it opening, because our on-campus accommodation in particular, it does become full. So the earlier you get your application in, the better. I've got a bit of a trick for students that would like to have on-campus accommodation, a bit of a sneaky way to secure it. We offer an all-inclusive package at Hartpury. So they can pay one fee for their tuition fee, accommodation. It includes food, so 3 meals a day, 7 days a week. It includes gym membership, all of the items that they would need for their room, so like bedding packs, knives, forks, plates. And it also includes 6 airport transfers to local airports, so they can easily get back to visit families throughout the year. So this is one fee. It's £32,000. Um, but because of the food element, we can only offer that package if students are staying on campus. So I always say to families, if they really, really want to be on campus, they don't want to be in the city, if they opt for the all-inclusive package, it means we have to allocate on campus because they couldn't use it otherwise. So that's a bit of a clever trick to guarantee on-campus accommodation.
Fantastic. And that's available for all undergraduate applicants, right?
Available for all undergraduate. Don't forget, postgraduate students will live in the city accommodation in Gloucester. The shuttle bus picks up from right outside and brings them over to campus.
And once they submit the application form for accommodation in April, let's say if they book it that way, do they need to pay a deposit to secure it? And is it refundable in case if they can't make it for any reason?
Yeah, they're unlikely to hear for a few weeks after applying because the accommodation team are busy working through all of their applications and starting to make those allocations. So it would be from May onwards where we would get in touch and let you know which room you've been allocated. If you'd like to accept that, you just need to pay a very small deposit to secure your room. It's like a couple of £100.
Great. Thank you. That's really good to know. How long does it typically take to receive an offer decision after submitting an application? Well, the first step is to submit your application if you are our in uni partner via GAS Gateway portal. If you are a student and working with educational advisor, do submit it obviously via your education advisor, or if you're applying directly, there is a specific link that we share as well with those applicants. Normally within 48 hours, our admissions make the initial assessment and issues a conditional offer letter, which would list all the outstanding documents that you will need to provide. You will also need to go through the interview. And then it obviously depends once you've submitted your outstanding documents and once you've completed your interview process. So the sooner you apply, the better, because you have plenty of time. It also gives you an overview on the various scholarships. You have an advantage of applying for various scholarships if you submit your application early too. So do try to send your documents across at the earliest if possible. And obviously, once you receive your unconditional offer letter and you've cleared your interview and you've secured your place by paying deposit, then the next stage would be apply for CAS, which you can do 6 months prior to the start date of the program. And once you've secured your CAS letter, you can apply for your visa. And that gives you, again, lots of time to have your visa and to avoid visa rejection, because sometimes late visa applications may result in visa rejection, which of course we want to avoid by any means. And you can travel to the UK normally 1 month prior to the start date of your course, which is a great time, especially if you arrive in summer. So, and before September, you have some time to explore beautiful UK. And where Hartpury is actually area of outstanding natural beauty. So you can visit all the surrounding countryside, visit nearest cities as well. So just to give you a better idea of the the location of the university. Okay, I think we've covered all the questions, but is there anything else you would like to add, Lydia, before we conclude?
Oh, I don't think so. I think we've covered a lot, haven't we? But I suppose just to reiterate, if you are passionate about one of our specialist subject areas, Hartpury would be an amazing option for you. Or perhaps you just benefit from an environment that's calm, filled with nature, a really close-knit, passionate community. I think you'd really enjoy Hartpury.
And very small class sizes, which helps you to study better, to focus, to immerse in the British culture, make some friends, and to succeed in your studies, but also to potentially secure a placement or internship and potentially full-time job afterwards as well. Because why are we all so keen to have a good degree? Is because we want to have a good job afterwards, right? Thank you so much, Lydia. Really insightful and inspiring webinar. We will be sharing recording afterwards as well. Do stay tuned. We will have more webinars to come. And like I mentioned earlier, the portal is already open, so feel free to submit your applications there. And if there is any support that you need, please feel free to reach out to our in uni Hartpury team, and we will take it from there. Thank you so much. And in case if I don't see you before Christmas, have a lovely festive time. Thank you. Thank you, Sakanya.